Hello, Sassy Stampers. Today we're going to be doing the May 2022 card designed by Denise Schweitzer. You're going to need your scoreboard with bone folder, a paper trimmer of your choice, your glue or other adhesive, a pencil with an eraser, a ruler, some scissors, a small sentiment, and your memento ink. Put these out of the way and get started with our kit. The kit should have your instructions, a piece of cardstock for your card base, some pattern paper, a small white piece of paper, cardstock, a piece that's cut for your pocket for the front of your card. You'll also have some foam tape, some buttons, and then Denise made us all a really cute little tag for the back of the card as well. Put these out of the way for a moment. We're going to start with our card base. Need to score that at 4 1/4. Next, we're going to cut our pattern paper. And we need to make 3 pieces of this. We're going to cut into 3 pieces. The first one is 5 1/4 by 4 inches. And you actually have 2 pieces that are 5 1/4. So I'm going to start by cutting this down to 5 1/4. And then we need 1 piece that's 4 inches. One piece that's only 7 1/8, which I find kind of hard to cut less than 1 inch on some of these trimmers. So I'm going to go look at how deep it is and then back off 7/8 of an inch here and cut it that way. I just find that easier. And then our last piece is 4 1/4. So I'll cut this down to 4 1/4 and 1 7/8. So that's going to be right at the edge of my little guide here. And I'm going to move those out of the way so I don't get my extra pieces mixed up. All right, so our first step now with this pattern paper is going to be to attach the large piece to the front of our card. I like to use glue, so I have a little bit of time to reposition things if I don't get it quite straight. Then the next step is to to attach your small thin strip to the front of the card. And this is going to be like the front of your shirt where the buttons are attached. We just want to put that along the edge. And I found that if my pattern lined up a little too perfectly, I flipped it around because I just felt like if you were sewing a shirt, it wouldn't end up matching exactly, so I didn't want it to. But that's up to you. It's always your choice. Now, the next step on the instructions say to align your buttons, but I found it a little easier to have my collar shape cut out so that I knew where it was going to lay, and I could position the buttons kind of based off of that. So I'm going to get my buttons ready, but I'm going to go ahead and cut this collar piece. Now, it's important that you follow the instructions here and actually cut from the lower left corner up to the right upper corner. If you don't cut it that diagonal, it's not going to be able to go on your card front correctly. So this is my lower left, and I'm just going to line the two corners up. I'm not sure how well you can see that, but I'm just lining them up according to where my cutter is going to cut it when I get ready. Just cut diagonally. So what happens there is now you can rotate and attach this piece, and it actually comes like a collar at an angle here. Otherwise, you end up with it straight. That was a mistake I made on one of mine. So if we lay it here, we're going to have a little bit there to cut off. I'm just gonna make a little mark for myself. Cut that off. And by laying it on here, I can tell where it's going to fall, so I can lay out my buttons. I always like to put one at the bottom and at the top, and then arrange the two in between. And these can really be done however you want them. Some people liked one up here underneath, so it'd be like the top, the very top button on most shirts. I just put mine here. I do like to arrange them, the top and the bottom though, first, wherever you want to put them, so that you don't run out of space when you're putting the rest of them on. If I don't do that, then I end up with these kind of, they might be too high or too low, but this way I can get them somewhat even. If you happen to be someone who sews or does needlepoint, it could be really cute to go ahead and sew a little string past on these buttons so that they look real. Okay. Next, we're going to attach our collar, and that's your foam tape. So just put some foam tape along the edges. Yours is probably a little nicer than mine. I had to get some extra. So it's kind of bending. Okay. And once you have that on there, peel off the backing. And position it at the top of your shirt. So it sticks up and really looks like a collar. Isn't that cute? So now we'll put our pocket on. And this has already been scored for you, but we do have a template that I'll be uploading so that when you're making this card again, you'll have it. I'm just gonna press these down with my fingers because I do want it to stick out a little bit from the front of the shirt card so that I can slip my hanky behind there with my message. So I'm not gonna fold it terribly flat. And then again, you could use tape or, you know, whatever you prefer, but I like my glue. Okay, and then just line that up towards the bottom of your shirt. There. And press it on. I'll have to get mine to stick there. Give it a couple seconds. Okay, so next you're gonna make your hanky. Now, it needs to fit in here. My glue is popping up. So I'm just gonna make sure it does with the way that I glued it down. And then we're going to make a point like a hanky would be. So the piece of paper is, if you just take your ruler, it's 2.5 wide. So we want to make a mark at 1 1/4. And then I wanted to make sure that my points were right. So I marked it down here at 5 5/8 on each side. So you can see where I've done it here at 1 1/4 and then 5/8 on each side. And then if you can cut straight lines, you could just connect these lines, but I like to go ahead and draw myself some lines to connect. It makes it a little easier. And if you're working on the back of it, it's not going to show anyway. Or you could go ahead and erase them. You could use your trimmer, but I'm just going to cut these by hand. And there we go. So hopefully you have a square hanky. I don't think mine's quite right, but you get the idea there. And then you'll just need to take your small sentiment and stamp it towards the top so that it will show. Or some folks want to put an entire message so that the person pulls it out to see it. So I'm not going to make you watch me stamp because I don't always get it square. So I already have one that I've done here. So you can just place this in your card and you can glue it down if you like, or, you know, so that it doesn't slip below. Depending on how you're doing your message, you might want to have it to be pulled out. So that is all your choice. Now, some of the folks that made this card, they actually, the paper in your kit is double-sided. So they took some of the reverse side. In my case, I had some extra blue paper that matched my cardstock base, and I just edged my collar and my shirt pocket and just added a little bit of stitching like a hanky would have. Or you could, if you were making it more of a woman's shirt, you might be able to put a scalloped edge on here. There's all sorts of ideas. And then when you're done, don't forget your special stamp or label here that Denise made for us. And then you can sign it and finish your card up that way. Again, it's super cute card and really not too tough to make. And there's a lot of different options for the message. This one I made, since it's our May card, I did Happy Father's Day. I thought that made a appropriate Father's Day card since it was kind of a guy's shirt. So anyway, use your imagination, and I hope you enjoy the card.